is good shot. Oh my!
Here to celebrate Georgetown, the Georgetown Raiders are Buckland Cup champions!
The Trenton Golden Hawks, the R. Hewitt Cup champions, are going to Coburg.
Back to Minerva. Shot scores! And the Coburg Cougars are the Royal Bank Cup champions!
Well, the second round of the OJ playoffs kicked off last week. Once again, overtime was on the menu in several encounters. More coming up in just a moment. This is the OJ Today. Hey, folks, I'm Alex Bastiavansky. Today, Toronto Junior Canadians head coach Jeff Angelides joins me to chat about his team's performance this year. The JRCs went out in 6 tough games against Oakville, and Jeff is going to break down the series with me. But first, second round game highlights, and those aforementioned Oakville Blades had a monumental task ahead of them in round 2 as they were pitted against the OJ regular season champs, the Toronto Patriots. That's a fascinating matchup. The Pats have the league's best offense by a mile, whereas the Blades have one of its top defenses, and things kicked off last Wednesday. OJ highlights now, brought to you by Cool Sports, official apparel provider to the OJHL. And this series is turning out to be absolutely epic. Game 1, pick it up with the Blades leading 1-0. Graham McLean with the snipe, and that ties it up at 1 apiece. Just before intermission, though, Zach Bremwell, sweet moves out front here, and 2-1 Blades after 20 minutes of play. Second period, the Pats respond on the power play. Max Rutledge to Jackson Alexiev out front here, and it's a 2-2 hockey game. 2 minutes later, though, Blades bang away at the puck on the doorstep here. Bremwell with his second of the game, and the Blades go up 3-2. Pats would tie before the break, and it's a beauty. Colton Kalizic, spinorama. Play of the week nominee, 3-3 after 40 minutes. This series had an edge to it as well. Teth Burles rocks Nicholas Favaro with the sweet open ice hit. Patriots would pull ahead. 50-goal man Andrew Petrucci, 4-3 for the Pats until the dying seconds.
Ran into the post on the near side. This one's below the goal line. For all intents and purposes, no! There it is! 2.3 seconds, overtime! Wow!
Yeah, and this one was going to overtime.
They've got Kalizic. He's got Bannister at the back door. Kalizic beam! And here comes the Patriots! Game 1.
The Kalizic beam, love it. Anthony Regan with the call. Aurora and Coburg game 1. Nominee for play of the week here. Ryan Castleman shreds the Tigers defense. Sweet goal, 1-zip. Cougars, they add to it in the second frame. Just 2:03 in, Riley McCutcheon cleaning up the garbage out front. 2-0, and an upset was a Bruin. All Cats, though, from that point on. Zach Wilkie, pinpoint accuracy. Tigers cutting the deficit to 2-1. Aurora loves the backdoor pass, as you're about to see in this game. Brock Welsh to Jake Bricknell. Gorgeous. Tied up at 2 apiece. Bucko 3 later on the power play. Chris Giroday packing some TNT in that shot. Future Western Michigan Bronco right there. Yet another power play 40 seconds later. Yet another backdoor pass. Misty to James Thompson. 4-2 Tigers. Coburg would add 1 in the third, but Aurora holds on for the 4-3 win to take game 1. Okay, defending Buckland Cup champs Georgetown taking on the North York Rangers. Game 1, Rangers get it started. 9:21 in, Sam Hunter banking it in from the point. 1-zip North York. Second period, Colby Muse, top 5 nominee here. Absolute larceny right there on Derek McVeigh. But the Raiders do tie it up. The big man, 6'8" Jake Payette on the rush, top shelf, tied up at 1 apiece. Good celebration too. No scoring in the third. It was off to overtime.
But he's Seth Hales, and here comes Derek McVeigh. But he's by himself. Here's McVeigh busting down the wing, takes the shot, and he scores! Derek McVeigh, the hero for Georgetown. Raiders win! Raiders win!
great call by Alan Corkum. G-Town takes game 1 by a 2-1 count. Okay, Newmarket was in Wellington taking on the Dukes in game 1. First period, Declan Carlisle rings it off the crossbar. Dukes coming oh so close. Tyler Richardson holding the fort at the other end for now. Big stop on Alex Irulo out front, but then a big oops. Richardson coming out to play the puck. Gives it right to Matt Gorey. Ouch. Canes go up 1-0. Second period, the Dukes come close again on the rush here, but just can't hang on to the puck out front. Third period, Hurricanes add some insurance on the power play. Cole Thiessen, he risks it home, and Newmarket has itself a 2-0 lead. Wellington, net empty late, but the Canes will steal the puck here, and Eric Aramita with the easiest goal he'll get all year. So Newmarket goes into the hostile confines of the Duke Dome and steals game 1 on the road. Okay, the Scotiabank top 10 voting remains pretty much the same. Jakubowski, Jackson Camp, Cal Walker, Jack Ricketts, and Justin Paul of the Georgetown Raiders. This is all in no particular order either. Also, Ryan Bazana of Whitby, Max Ewert, Tiger McDonald of Trenton, Jonah Capriotti, and Mitch Mendonca, both of the Wellington Dukes. Head to ojhl.ca to cast your vote for your Scotiabank fan favorite player. OJ Trivia, who was recently named the OJHL Executive of the Year. The first correct answer to our Morocco at the ojhl.ca wins an OJHL prize pack. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. The Wellington Dukes got by the upstart Pickering Panthers by the slimmest of margins in the opening round, getting taken to 7 games by the Cats. And it was a case of out of the frying pan and into the fire for round 2, as the Dukes had to take on the powerhouse Newmarket Hurricanes. The Canes stole game 1 on the road in Wellington. It was a tight 3 win, but nobody was expecting the result they put up in game 2. People thought it may have been a misprint when they saw the final score in this one. First frame, Liam Cripps on the doorstep, cleans up the garbage, makes it 1-0 Hurricanes. This right here was the high point for Wellington. Just 35 seconds later, Declan Carlisle risks it past Fraser Kirk to tie it up at 1 apiece. All Newmarket from that point on, though. Alex Irulo continues his hot play. He makes it 2-1 for the Canes. Second period now, the Grecian assassin goes to work. Dimitri Miklogiannikis right off the draw. What a shot. 3-1 for Newmarket. And then veteran D-man Christian DiDonato takes the feed, picks his spot. Hurricanes running away with it, up 4-1 heading into the third. Final frame, nothing but Kane. Sheldon Nolan plays the bank shot off teammate Nicholas Cerrone. 5-1. And then the big M, his last name is just too long, like mine, so I understand. He will make it 6-1 right here with a sweet little wrist shot. They would add 2 more to make it 8. An absolute shocker of a blowout. Newmarket goes up 2-0 in this series. Okay, Aurora hitting the road to take on Cobourg for game 2. The home squad hits first. Connor McEachern, sweet little tip out front right there. 1-0 for the defending RBC champions. Tigers tie it up though. Nice puck movement by the black and gold. Jake Bricknell with the finish. Bricknell, an absolute stud this year for the Tigers. Second period was all Aurora. Just 28 seconds in. James Thompson banks it in off teammate Christian Monachino. 2-1 for Aurora. And then it was Joseph Mitzi getting a juicy bounce off the glass right there and putting it home. Tigers stretch their lead to 2 goals. And then one of the plays of the week, Matthew Ferrari goes for a skate. He bulges the twine, and the black and gold with a 4-1 lead at that point, and the period from hell continues for the Cougars. They were shorthanded here. Rebound off the post goes right to Austin Eastman. Easy pickings. Cobourg would notch 3 in the third. Wasn't enough though, as Aurora holds on to take a 2-0 series lead. Okay, the Blades trying to even their series with the Pats in game 2. 7:58 in, short-handed, no less. Gorgeous pass from Matt Graham to Zach Bramwell. Zach attack, Oakville going up 1-0. 5 minutes later, Graham to Matt Hayami out front, and there you go. Another one for the Blades. The Pats would get one back, so Oakville takes a 2-1 lead into the break. Second period action now. Blades on the power play. Great passing here. 5-on-3, so it is pretty open, but still tic-tac-toe. Spencer Kirsten with the big finish. Pats would add one in the third, but Oakville holds on to even the series up at 1 game apiece. They were rocking and rolling again the next night back in Toronto. Another classic. Blades hit first. Anthony Aguano, power play marker on the second chance. 1-0 for Oakville. Pats hit back, though, before the buzzer. Nobody covers. Brett Bannister out front. All tied up at 1 apiece after 20 minutes. Skip ahead to the third period now. Bannister with a top 5 nominee. Smooth moves, and he puts it past Chris Elliott. Pats go up 2-1. But with 24 seconds left, Max Rutledge gets a misconduct for a head check right there, which sets up a mad finish.
Well, tried to shovel it towards the front of the net. Lapide had it. It's in front. Scores! 2.4 seconds to go. Deja vu all over again.
Yep, again, they were going to overtime.
Matthews, Spagnuolo, right wing side. Spagnuolo scores! Dantes Inferno! And the Patriots grab a 2-1 lead. It was Dantes Inferno, that's the difference.
All right, Pats go up 2-1 in the series. North York and Georgetown for Game 2. Rangers draw first blood. Nick Campoli to Ross Krieger. 1-0 North York. And then Colby Muse with another monster stop here as he flashes the leather to deny Derek McVeigh. Second period, the Raiders even it up. McVeigh getting his revenge. The Arister will elude Muse, and it was all tied up at 1 apiece. Back and forth they went. A minute 48 left in the period. Kyle Clark finding some room out front. He beats Troy Timpano, and the Rangers will regain their advantage. Third period now. Raiders pressing late, trying for the equalizer. Big chance out front here. Can't convert. Peter Muzichka will just flip it out, and it will go all the way down the ice for the empty net tally. 3-1 your final as the Rangers even up the series with Georgetown, tied 1-1, heading back to North York for Game 3. Okay, some alumni news. A reminder, the first ever Zach Hyman Celebrity Classic golf tournament will be coming up in Aurora this summer, taking place at Lebovic Golf Course in Aurora, in support of several youth charities, including Sick Kids Oncology and the OJHL Foundation. You can meet lots of current and former Leafs, and your admission fee includes lunch, cocktails, dinner, prizes. It's going to be a great time. ZachHyman.com for more info. Alumni update, Mason Marchment, former Cobourg Cougar, now with the Marlies, signed a 2-year entry-level deal with the Leafs. Brent Senny, formerly of Kingston, now with Merrimack, signs a 2-year deal with the Devils. And Kelly Nobes, formerly a player with Pickering, now head coach of McGill, named U Sports Hockey Coach of the Year. Also, Dylan Secura, formerly of the Aurora Tigers, now with Northeastern, named a top 10 finalist for the Hobie Baker Award for the top player in college hockey, and also named to Hockey East first team. And Chris Bennett, formerly of the Blades, named U Sports Hockey Rookie of the Year. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ today. Happy to be joined now by the head coach of the Toronto Junior Canadians, Mr. Jeff Angelides, joining me via Skype. Jeff, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy workday to be on the show today.
No problem, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So, well, let's just break down the series. First of all, down in 6 games to the Oakville Blades, but you guys, you put up a hell of a fight. You were even up 2-1 at one point in the series. Just talk about the series and your analysis of it.
Yeah, real chippy series to start. You know, I'm sure there was some animosity going in before the playoffs started, but I think we knew, you know, pretty late in the season that we were going to be. It was either going to be Oakville or North York, and you know, we started to prep for Oakville that last week or two of the regular season, and then. we played Oakville officially our last game of the year. So we played them then, and then obviously the 6 games in the playoffs. So good battle. My parents raised me the right way, I think, and we don't make excuses, but situations came up in the series that were pretty frustrating for us. But
well, let's talk about a couple of them. One being you guys lost 2 of your main stars to injury. Joffe goes out, I believe, after 2 games, and then starting goalie Dalton Ewing goes out at the beginning of Game 4. You guys were actually up 2-1, as I mentioned, in the series at that point. Yep. Obviously, losing 2 big boys like that had an effect on things. Yeah,
Game 1 was real tight too, Joffe was actually out in Game 1. It was early in Game 1. He took a couple big hits by Jones and Bailey Newton, and so he was out early in Game 1. He didn't really play much in Game 1, and obviously Dalton got hurt at the start of Game 4, which was not good for us. Yeah. The other ones though too, we talked about it being a chippy series. Matt O'Brien got suspended for 4 games, or I think that was in Game 1 as well. We really missed him in the crunch of the middle of the series. It was a physical, hard series, and losing him was tough. We lost Chad Lopez to a 2-game suspension, a 20-year-old that had some grit and some physicality to him. So that one hurt too.
Combination of injuries and suspensions are just killer, aren't they? Obviously, and the big one, or one of the big ones, obviously, but the guy that all the scouts were there to watch, Jack McBain, ended up getting suspended for the final 2 games of the series. Up until that point, though, he'd been absolutely dominant. 9 points in 4 games to lead you guys, and he was among the league leaders in the playoffs at that point. Just talk about Jack and his play in the series.
He just has the ability to come up big in big games, and him and Joffe were real good last year in that Game 7, that Game 7 series, and then again now for the playoffs. He has the ability to step up in big games, and that's something that we really noticed in those first 3-4 games. He was very, very good.
When you guys played the Blades during the regular season, they did take the season series, but they were tough games, all of them. You did play them well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What is it that you guys had the most difficulty in adapting to when facing that Oakville Blades team?
One thing we really focused on was their power play. They move the puck efficiently. They work their power play well. They go through the middle of the ice. They go east-west through the offensive zone. So we really looked at that. Tried to clog up the middle of the ice. The other thing they're very good at is winning draws. Bramwell was very good on the draws. Their wingers and their D jumping in for loose pucks, ice-offs, and whether it's the D zone, the O zone, or the neutral zone. But that's one thing that we talk about for positioning off face-offs and getting pucks back. You lose a draw in this league, it takes probably 10 to 12 seconds to get it back. So, their power play was deadly, and
they made you pay for it.
Something that we really talked about and prepared for.
Yeah. So if you were giving advice to John Dean, then the head coach of the Patriots right now, of course the Pats and the Blades are well into their second-round series right now. The Coles Notes. What advice would you give to John Dean about handling the Blades?
If I could go back, I'd probably pressure Oakville on their power play breakouts. It's something that when I'm watching video, I look back, really try and cause them fits getting out of their end on the power play. A lot of backdoor stuff, and you can see it the first, Matt Graham scoring the identical goal with 2 seconds left, both backdoors.
Both backdoors, yeah.
So that's, if I'm talking to Diener about it, it's, make sure your D are boxing out and have heavy sticks in front of the net and making sure nothing comes across the top of the crease, because they're really tricky at, you think they're shooting and they're looking backdoor, and, it resulted in some tap-ins. So those are the 2 points that I talked to Diener about.
20 seconds. We got 20 seconds. You know what? Good season overall for you guys. Lots of guys are going to end up with scholarships. Possible first-round draft pick in Jack McBain here. When you look back on this season, Jeff, what are the thoughts that are going to come to mind in about 20 seconds? Sorry, but it's got to be quick.
No problem. Losing the playoffs is disappointing. That'll burn for a while, but really proud of the fact that we set franchise record in points and wins this year. That's something that was important to us, and we were able to get that done. But still burns being out of the playoffs, and we'll reload in the summer and get ready to go.
Looking forward to it, buddy, and looking forward to seeing you out there again next year. Thanks so much for all your help and some of the great interviews you gave to me this year, and we'll see you next year.
Anytime, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Okay, just a reminder that the OJHL Combine is fast approaching, taking place in Oshawa this year. This has become a very important way for OJ teams to scout talent. April 6th, 7th, 8th in Oshawa, as mentioned. The players, you can showcase your skill to all OJHL teams. They'll all be there. Each player guaranteed 3 games. Head to ojhlcombine.ca for more information. And the OJDL returns again this year. It started back in 2015. It's great stats. Players moving on to OJHL teams as well as OHL teams. OJDL PointStreakSites.com for more information. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. Well, Georgetown and North York were 2 squads that rolled through their opening round series. The Raiders dispatched the St. Mike's Buzzers in 4 straight games, while the Rangers did likewise with Buffalo. Nobody was expecting a sweep in this series, though. The teams were far too evenly matched, and it was tied up at 1 game apiece as the scene shifted to North York on Sunday. Not much separating these teams through 2 games. Raiders hit first, just 21 seconds in. Derek McVeigh squeaks one past Jet Alexander. Georgetown leading 1-0. 4 minutes later, though, Tyler Flack tips home the point shot. Rangers even it up, and it's tied 1-1. And then it's Jesse Tucker with the top 5 nominee right here. A sweet little toe drag, and boom, top shelf. Gorgeous. North York takes the 2-1 advantage. They would expand on that in the second period as well. 2-on-1 executed to perfection here. It'll be Nick Campoli to Noah Robinson. Shelf past Troy Timpano. 3-1 NYR. $1:30 later, Tyler Flack going top shelf once again past Timpano. Tough to stop that one. 3-goal bulge for the Rangers. Cue the comeback, though. Nicholas Prestia drops for Bailey Malella. That hand's looking pretty good, Bailey, who just got back from injury. Cut to 4-2. Third period, the Raiders keep coming. Zach Elson off the draw, and Zach Daddy narrows the deficit to just 1 goal. It's 4-3, and then Malella calls for it out front, and whammo, the one-timer. They come all the way back to tie it at 4-4, and this one was headed to overtime again.
And battling there, Ellingson out in front, turnover. Campoli in the slot, waits, shot, scores! Nick Campoli! Oh my God, overtime winner! They take game 3, 5-4.
What a finish. The Raiders were trying to bounce back in game 4. It didn't look good early, though. Noah Jordan squeezes it past Troy Timpano. Rangers lead 1-0. Nicholas Prestia knocks it home 3 minutes later, though. The Rister beating Colby News, and it was 1-1. But the Rangers pull ahead again before the end of the frame. Ryan Radis at top shelf. That was it for Timpano. He was replaced by Nathan Torquia. Second period, Nick Campoli. Ugh, that's pretty nice. 3-1 North York. They would actually make it 4, and it got worse for Georgetown. Ross Krieger, the laser, top shelf. 5-1 for the Rangers. 2 goals by Georgetown in the third to make it more respectable. Did nothing for the bottom line. Rangers 3-1 series lead. Newmarket and Wellington for game 3. Canes up 2-0 in the series. Dukes get on the board first. Mitch Martin shoveling home the garbage. The Dukes of Wellington lead 1-0 at the break. They add to it in the second. Teddy McGean turning on the Jets. Dishpan soft hands, and the big home crowd was loving it. 2-0 Dukes. The Hurricanes scratched and clawed in the third, got one back. Zach Ewens, oops, blowing a tire. The Canes say thank you. The rebound gets knocked home by Liam Cripps. Not enough on this day, though, as the Dukes hold on for the win, and they are right back in the thick of this series, trailing 2-1. Okay, the Cougars in Aurora for game 3, trailing 2-0 in the series. Coburg breaks the ice. Connor McEachern, power play goal. It's 1-0, but the captain, Jake Bricknell, evens things up at the other end. Toe drag, wicked shot all tied up at 1 apiece. Second period action now. Aurora was on fire. Christian Monachino off to the races. Splits the wickets on Jorgen Johnson. Shorthanded goal, 2-1 Tigers. And then Joseph Mitzi uses Esposito as a decoy. Rips it top shelf. Aurora up 3-1. They were relentless on the power play. Matthew Ferrari, point shot, finds daylight. 4-1 home squad. And then
Bumps it at a counterattack. Oh, big hit! Oh, my!
big hit by James Thompson. Then Austin Eastman picks the top corner. 5-1 Tigers. The Cougars rallied for 3 goals in the third, but it wasn't enough. Aurora takes the 3-0 series lead. Okay, one more for you. Oakville trailing the Pats 2-1. We pick it up late in the second. Blades leading 4-3. Evan Benwell knots it up, and it's a 4-4 hockey game. Before the break, though, Andrew McIntyre will tip home the shot. And it's 5-4 Oakville after 40 minutes. In the third frame, though, Pats on the power play. Oliver Benwell tips it home to tie it right there. And that, of course, leads to yet another dramatic overtime finish.
And turned over. A chance. Thomas Maya. Centering pass. Who's home? Scores! Scores! Oh, lead jumping. The Oakville Blades win it in overtime.
What an insanely good series so far after 4 games all tied up at 2 apiece. Okay, the top 5 brought to you by Chaos, the official hat provider to the Ontario Junior Hockey League. Number 5 this week, North York's Colby Muse lights out against Georgetown. Here he robs Derek McVeigh right on the doorstep with the ridiculous stop. Number 4, Wellington's Teddy McGean off to the races against Newmarket, showing off the soft hands in the Dukes Game 3 win. Number 3, North York, Georgetown, Game 3, overtime, Nick Campoli. What a shot to win it for the Rangers in dramatic fashion. Number 2, Dante Spagnuolo against Oakville in overtime, powers his way to the net. The game winner, a beauty. And number 1, not an OT winner, but the nicest, we think, Ryan Castleman rips through the Aurora defense, tucks it home. Awesome goal. And that is our Chaos Play of the Week. And we've got a run for this week. All out of time, folks, but just remember to keep up to date with the OJHL playoffs. All your news, stats, and the latest scores, you can always head to ojhl.ca. And of course, you've got all your social media options there to check out as well. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.